The numbers don't lie. The shocking truth about what's happening in the WNBA right now is almost too wild to believe. When Caitlin Clark stepped on the court, an incredible 17 million viewers tuned in to watch her magic. Now, the league is barely scraping by with 3-4 million viewers per game. It's a huge drop that can't be ignored.
Number of viewers for WNBA games that Caitlin Clark is not in is like 3 to 4 million. When she's in the game, when it's her game playing, it's like 17 million.
Yeah. Well, I also look at the attendance in the arena.
Yes.
It's 8 to 10,000 everywhere else. Caitlin Clark, 17, 18,000.
The attendance numbers tell an even more dramatic story. While regular WNBA games struggle to fill seats, with 10,000 fans, Caitlin Clark's presence transformed arenas into sold-out spectacles, packing in 17 to 18,000 passionate supporters. The WNBA is desperately trying to get through playoffs without their superstar, but the impact of her absence is impossible to ignore. Just look at the All-Star voting. Last year's leader barely managed to scrape together 100,000 votes. Enter Caitlin Clark and bam! Over 700,000 fans rushed to support her. That's not just growth. That's a revolution in the sport.
I've been calling for the equality, and now that there is the chance for them to start getting paid more because the exposure's up. Because it's her, you have people like, what's her name, Jamelia Hill or what? I can't stand her.
Yeah.
You got these women who are coming on here and they're saying it's because she's white.
Caitlin.
It's not hard to see the Caitlin Clark effect. When she's not on the court, fans are tuning out. Some argue that the WNBA wouldn't be facing this problem if they'd handled her better. Many fans blame the referees for ambushing Clark throughout the season, leading to a situation where the league is now struggling to retain the attention she once commanded. Let's see Clark performance.
Davis, time winding down. Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! Yeah! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W.
Listen, this is what Caitlin Clark does, folks. Logo threes, it's her signature. That is the most Caitlin Clark way to win.
Clark's ability to captivate audiences isn't limited to basketball. Even when she went to play a round of golf, her fans showed up in droves. It's clear that Caitlin's appeal goes beyond the game. She's become a symbol of something greater. While critics like Jamelia Hill point to race as a factor in Clark's popularity, the truth is that she's faced her fair share of adversity, including media and fan backlash. Through it all, Clark has remained composed, showing maturity beyond her years. In a league where players are often caught up in political and social issues, Clark stands out as someone focused on playing the game. Let's see what Jason Whitelock said.
These racial discussions that she has nothing to do with, wants nothing to do with, and then they're demonizing her fans. And these Indiana Fever players are all caught up in the middle of this too, because no one cared about the WNBA, and so these guys could go play their game in anonymity with very little pressure. No one really cared. And now they're in this bubble.
But it's not just her presence that matters. It's what she brings to the court. In her rookie season, Clark dominated. Her performances were not only impressive, but game-changing, drawing comparisons to some of the greatest basketball players in history. Her deep three-point shots, court vision, and leadership have set a new standard for women's basketball. Yet, as impressive as her rookie season was, the WNBA is now feeling the consequences of her early exit. The fever that gripped fans during Clark's time on the court has cooled, and it's clear that without her, the league is struggling to maintain momentum. Her absence raises a critical question. Will the new fans she brought into the WNBA stick around? Some are hopeful that matchups like the Liberty Aces series will draw numbers, but the disparity is already clear. When Clark played, viewership skyrocketed. Now, the league is dealing with a drop from 1.8 million viewers to around 400,000, a wild difference. Let's see what Charlie Arnold said.
But now that Caitlin Clark is out, and again, like I said, she brought a whole new fan base. And I'm not going to say it was one race or another or one type of person. I believe that all different types of people really started embracing Caitlin Clark. Female, male, black, white, young, old. Caitlin Clark is just a superstar. That's what happens when you have a star in a league. But
as much as Clark has brought to the league, her exit from the playoffs highlights a larger issue. The WNBA's reliance on individual stars like Clark has become glaringly apparent. When she's not playing, the league struggles to maintain interest, and that's a problem they'll need to address moving forward. The numbers speak for themselves. During the regular season, Clark's games averaged 1.1 million viewers, while others barely drew 400,000. Beyond the stats, it's Clark's ability to elevate her teammates and make the game better for everyone around her that sets her apart. Her leadership on the court has been crucial for the Fever, guiding them to critical wins throughout the season. But the pressure of being the face of the league is starting to show. In a recent game, Clark seemed worn out, sore, and exhausted, a far cry from the dynamic player who dominated the early season. And with her out of the picture, the WNBA is once again struggling to compete for viewership and fan engagement. Let's see what Clark said.
There was a lot of things that this group accomplished that, a lot of people probably didn't think was possible, one, to start the season, and two, after the start we had to the season. So, yeah, it'll definitely be probably a little weird for me over the course of the first couple weeks, and then I'm sure I'll get bored and pick up a basketball again. So
Clark's early exit has been a wake-up call for the WNBA. For a league trying to grow its fan base and increase media attention, the loss of one of its brightest stars couldn't have come at a worse time. Before Clark's arrival, the league had been slowly increasing viewership, but the growth was modest compared to the explosive 400% rise that Clark brought. Without her, that momentum is at risk.
That the league is more than just one player. And that's true. I mean, I'm searched some of the numbers, Chad. Game 2 of Las Vegas and Seattle had 985,000 viewers. There was another game that held around 830,000 viewers. But I believe Game 1 with Caitlin Clark and the Fever, they pulled in over 1.5 million. And now what happens to that viewership?
Roughly double what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the trend throughout the season, right? I mean, she comes in, takes over the Indiana Fever, craziness, sellout crowds, 769 points, triple doubles in the season. That's important because that had never happened. And she did it twice. Attendance is up.
The decision to use a best-of-3 format in the first round of the playoffs has been widely criticized. For a young team like the Fever, having more games could have made all the difference. Instead, the Fever were knocked out in just 2 games, taking with them a significant portion of the WNBA's playoff viewership. LSU star Angel Reese, after being eliminated by Caitlin Clark, said,
"So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like, I'm talking about people have come down to my address, follow me home. Like, it's come down to that. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me, like, naked. Literally.
Really?
They have sent it to my family members. My family members are like, uncles are sending it to me like,
no.
Are you naked on Instagram?
For players like Angel Reese, who have also been the subject of media scrutiny, the pressure is immense. Reese's comments about the racist attacks she's faced only add to the tension surrounding the WNBA. In contrast, Clark has largely stayed out of these discussions, focusing on her game rather than the controversies swirling around her. The WNBA's reliance on stars like Clark to drive viewership is a double-edged sword. While she has undoubtedly brought new attention to the league, her absence exposes how fragile that attention can be. With Clark taking an extended break, the WNBA will need to find ways to keep fans engaged and maintain the excitement that she brought to the league. For now, the WNBA is facing a difficult reality. Clark's exit has left a noticeable gap in viewership, and the league is once again struggling to capture the attention of sports fans. But with Clark expected to return next season, there's hope that the Caitlin Clark effect will once again bring the league back to its former heights. In the meantime, the WNBA must figure out how to build on the momentum Clark created. ensuring that the league doesn't rely too heavily on one player to drive its success. Only time will tell if the league can rise to the challenge. As we wait for Clark's return, one thing is clear. The WNBA needs her more than ever. Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie season just got dragged into an ugly controversy. The basketball sensation Caitlin Clark, who's been shattering records and bringing millions of new fans to the WNBA, is now at the center of a heated racism debate. But here's what they don't want you to know. Connecticut Sun's Alyssa Thomas dropped a bombshell after eliminating Clark's Indiana Fever from the playoffs, accusing Fever fans of racism. But wait, where's the proof? Let's see what Alyssa Thomas actually said.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it. And basketball is headed in a great direction, but nah, we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us racial names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world, and
it's shocking to see Thomas throw these accusations without any real evidence. She claims she's never experienced such comments in her 11-year career, but conveniently forgets to provide any specifics. Coincidence? Well, on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Smith revealed the fact. Let's see what Smith said.
Alyssa Thomas goes, "You are a wonderful, wonderful woman. You are fabulous, and thank you for bringing up this subject. Because if you are Caitlin Clark fans, there's no room for any kind of racism. Now, I'm not calling everybody racist. I'm not calling most folks. But the few who are, you know who the hell you are. Calm the hell down. Support Caitlin."
Absolutely, Smith. As Caitlin Clark fans, we should embrace positivity and stand against racism. Let's support her without negativity. Let's see what Brittany Gear said.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming with them?
I appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against. Because those might be opponents, but those are friends too. They don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that. But I do appreciate the new fans that respect the game, that are here to grow our league. Bringing people that may have not ever watched the W, to a WNBA game, so we can grow more fans. I do appreciate them. I appreciate the players that came in, and
the WNBA's response? They're monitoring the situation and might even get law enforcement involved. Talk about an overreaction. After the last game, Clark talked about receiving an email filled with racist slurs and violent threats. During the game, she confronted a fan in the second row, who was briefly removed by security before coming back. This isn't the first time Clark has spoken about fan abuse. Earlier this season, she shared her frustration about how her popularity was used to excuse hateful behavior. Let's check out Clark's response.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real...
Now that's how you handle controversy with class. But let's look at the real numbers that matter. Clark helped break attendance records. TV ratings was through the roof. She brought more fans than ever to women's basketball. Well, we all know why some people might be jealous. Just look at Clark's incredible performance.
The Big Ten all-time assist record is hers and hers alone. Caitlin Clark behind the back, on the spin, to the hole, and one.
They're right here, just staying on balance, taking the contact, getting the and one.
Smith warned to Clark haters. Let's see what Smith said.
What is your problem? She is a phenomenal, phenomenal talent. and an even better person. I happen to have met and did an event with Caitlin Clark. I think she's wonderful. You don't have to act that way, particularly when you're a fan base that represents her. And if you are from the city of Indianapolis, if you are in Indiana, I will remind y'all years ago, Allen Iverson complained about the same thing. What he heard from those fans. She does play for the Indiana Fever. So you need to safeguard yourself from having or developing that kind of reputation.
Smith is right. Caitlin Clark is an incredible talent and a great person, and fans should support her positively instead of acting negatively. It's sad to see certain players trying to tarnish the incredible impact Clark has had on the league. Instead of celebrating her success, they're playing the race card without any solid evidence. This seems like nothing more than an attempt to discredit Clark and her amazing fan base. If there really is inappropriate behavior, show us the proof. Until then, this looks like pure jealousy disguised as social justice. Let's focus on what really matters, the game we all love. Clark has been nothing but respectful, even when facing these baseless accusations. That's what a true champion looks like. Let's see what Jason Whitlock said.
Don't hold the Indiana Fever responsible for people whose tweets you don't even know who the author is. It could have been somebody from Connecticut pretending to be an Indiana Fever fan, or someone from Connecticut who doesn't like you because you're a whiny victim 24/7.
It's heartbreaking to see Clark and other athletes face this kind of hate. Trolls have no place in sports. Caitlin Clark stands up for what's right and calls for respect for all women in the league. She isn't afraid to speak out against those misusing her name for harmful reasons. Her strong voice reminds everyone that equality and decency should be the standard. Clark's leadership, both on and off the court, is truly inspiring. What do you think about this controversy? Are these accusations fair, or is this just another attempt to bring down a rising star?
How are you? How you doing? Good. Pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton might not have the same level of national fame as WNBA star Caitlin Clark, but they are still close friends. Halliburton welcomed Clark with open arms when the former Iowa star was drafted by the Indiana Fever in April, and since then, the two Indiana icons have grown quite close. Hope you all seeing what 22 doing at Gainbridge, Tyrese Halliburton wrote from courtside on August 17th. Caitlin Clark, aka number 22, had just made a beautiful pass to Kelsey Mitchell, covering almost 3/4 of the court. The Indiana Pacers star, who knows a thing or two about good passes, had stood up with his hands over his head in disbelief. He was a CC fan, and he kept in touch with his fellow student athletes who attended college in Iowa. Let's see what Halliburton said.
I mean, I went to Fever games before this last year. I went to a ton because I love hoop. So to see kind of the explosion of women's basketball and for a big piece of that being the Fever and that being right in my backyard, I think was really, really cool to see. And I went to as many games as I could. I grew pretty close with Connor McCaffrey being an intern with us last year. And then I've grown to be pretty close with Caitlin.
It's awesome to see Tyrese Halliburton supporting women's basketball and recognizing the Fever's impact.
Me, her, him, and my girlfriend Jade all have a group chat that we talk in pretty often about everything. So it's been cool to just grow a friendship with her. And I don't want to be like everybody just wants to like get more from her, take more from her, like get more answers to things, and I don't want to be that. I just we're friends, and
His friendship with Caitlin just shows how talented and influential she is in the sport. Caitlin boyfriend is so supportive came to see Clark with Tyrese Halliburton. The WNBA phenom has been turning heads all season long, and the Indiana Pacers player is rooting for the state's sister team. Present in August for the Fever completing their sweep of the Phoenix Mercury, Halliburton had been left impressed by Clark & Co., and even shared a hug greeting with her post the game. As his latest statement reveals, the two stars from Indy are text buddies too. Let's see what Alex Golden tweeted. Tyrese Halliburton said that he, Caitlin Clark, her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, and his girlfriend Jade have a group chat that they talk in regularly. The Indiana Fever after the Olympic break was on a red-hot streak, and even Pacers coach Rick Carlisle was spotted outside Gainbridge at one Fever vs. Sky game. Just after Caitlin Clark had been drafted, she met Tyrese Halliburton for the first time and was happy to see him in the same city franchise. Clark said,
"City, part of this organization. How much are you looking forward to spending some time with the rival, well, the former rival, and Tyrese Halliburton, and of course, the Pacer players as well?"
Yeah, I watched the Pacers very closely. My boyfriend works for the Pacers, so I've become quite a fan. But I mean, Tyrese is incredible, and I just want to congratulate him. Obviously, being named to the USA national team today is pretty special. It's a really hard accomplishment, and obviously he played for a very terrible team in college, but it's nice to be in the same city now, and you know, I think the thing I love about him is the way he passes the ball. Like, I watch his game, and it's just incredible what he can do. So, but all of them across the board, I think Coach Carlisle has been tremendous for them, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And you know, I hope they beat the Bucks.
Let's see Tyrese's reaction while watching Clark performance.
Defense. One of her prettiest of the year. The WNBA Friday Night Spotlight is presented by State Farm. Tyrese Halliburton, who led the NBA in assists. Of course, Caitlin Clark here tonight. When Clark had that length of the court pass.
Head coach Christy Side said it was important just to get her feet underneath her. But to no surprise, you guys.
Extracurricular here. Mitchell and Natasha Cloud. To the shot that she took from Cloud, which whether it's a flagrant or a technical.
Bucket.
Clark attacking, gets inside, working over Cloud, draws the foul.
Into the paint, staying poised, trying to figure out where the defense is at.
Here in the third quarter, Clark step back on a deep two. Oh, gets the shooter. Clark. Does Clark see the clock? Handoff Samuelson. Who buries her through?
Tyrese is a true example of friendship. Let's see what Tyrese said.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for her to be here. I think it brings a lot of excitement to the city, and you know, a city with a lot of young talent already as it is, and adding her, you know, she's one of the faces of women's basketball, and for her to be here and under the same roof, you know, I think is really exciting for me, and I think a lot of people in our organization, and just look forward to, you know, watching her grow throughout the process, watching her get better. Looking forward to actually being able to cheer for her now.
Clark's boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, is also a basketball player now in the role of an assistant coach for Butler. He was previously a basketball development coordinator for the Pacers, but Tyrese Halliburton had wished him well for the new opportunity. While Halliburton's girlfriend Jade Jones might be the odd one out as the non-basketball playing member of this group, the famous NBA wag has not been indifferent to the sport. While the current Pacers point guard shone on the court, Jones could be found courtside as a cheerleader for the team. The couple has been together since 2019, while their friends started dating in 2023. Tyrese Halliburton has shown plenty of support to Caitlin Clark in her rookie season, but the Fever guard is equally a big fan of him. It's a mutual admiration society. Meanwhile, the Tyrese had said, "I would love to be able to interact with her more. It's great that we have Connor McCaffrey, Clark's boyfriend, in our franchise so I can talk to Connor and see how she's feeling kind of through him a little bit." Of course, now McCaffrey will be in a different team away from the NBA, but in the NCAA. Nevertheless, while this friendship might be scattered across the city, Caitlin Clark and Halliburton still play at the same arena. While Caitlin Clark's season has now ended and Halliburton's will begin soon, each of these in a group of 4 will certainly be rooting for the rest.
Hey, history tonight, Caitlin Clark. Oh, no, she didn't. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Hey, she needed 8 to break the record, scored the first 8 points, scored 49 on the night. That's a heat check right there. 49? Yeah. Wow, my God. Hey, congratulations, Caitlin Clark. You are a monster, girl. Yes, you are incredible. I still hadn't got a chance to see her play in person. I want to do that.
The Caitlin Clark effect has come to an end, but not before setting another record. For her final game of the season in the playoffs, the viewership averaged 2.5 million and peaked at 3.4 million viewers. She also won the AP WNBA Rookie of the Year award unanimously. Off the court, she secured endorsement deals with Nike and Wilson. The latter deal made her the only player other than Michael Jordan to receive signature treatment. MJ is known for setting the blueprint for the athletes, and Fever president spoke about how Clark took it forward. Let's see what Allison Barb said about Clark.
So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets. So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch. It's really hard to take in. After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said, wow, we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus? So that's the heart of Caitlin Clark. I mean, that's a classy, amazing person.
In one of her interviews, Allison said, "So the people at Nike told me that the thing that Caitlin has done is also similar to what Tiger did in that they brought new fans to the sport. So Michael Jordan energized and became a role model for all the kids. Caitlin's got that she's brought new fans to it. But she's even more than that in that she's 22, so she came right out of college and hit, very successful. Caitlin Clark is truly a game changer. She's inspiring a whole new generation of fans." To establish how successful the former Hawkeye is, we will just look at the attendance record. Last year, the Fever was the second worst franchise in the league, with an average of 4,067 fans. This season, the team set the top 2 records for fan attendance, the WNBA record with a total home attendance of 340,715. Plus, the 20,711 fans for the Fever and the Washington Mystics in Washington, D.C. set a single-season attendance record. Let's see what Robert Little BSO tweeted. Caitlin Clark asked the WNBA could her opponents get a bonus or extra money because the away team was making extra money from her selling out their arenas. WNBA said no, and CC never publicly spoke on trying to help. Let's see what Nancy Lieberman said before about Clark.
All right, you've done a couple of how many games have you done, Caitlin Clark?
A couple. I went to see her in college. We got to be friends. She won my award, and I promised I'd go see her play, and I did her last game in Iowa. I recently did the game in Dallas, the WNBA game. She's just exceptional.
In recent interview, Nancy talked about the impact of Clark on WNBA.
Which is okay, but damn, where's Caitlin Clark's teammates? I'd be pissed as shit at my teammates if nobody came to my defense. Gretzky had an enforcer. Michael Jordan had Oakley. I mean, that's honestly, it's just bullshit. This has to be better. Indiana has to be better. Somebody has to come to this kid's. I don't want to say.
Totally agree. Caitlin needs her teammates to back her up just like they had her support. Absolutely. Caitlin Clark was the only reason that bring more audience to watch WNBA as she created opportunities for everyone in the league. Caitlin Clark is amazing. It will be so cool to see her shine in next season and have legends like Nancy Lieberman support her. Let's see what K-Max said about Clark.
The WNBA is messing up the bag. They're dropping the ball with Caitlin Clark.
Talk to me.
They said, we already know that they're going to come out and those vets going to beat the brakes off of Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And people are not going to be, all of a sudden the interest level is going to fall, right? They said it's better to let Caitlin Clark come out this season and be on fire.
Yeah.
Get every.
K-Mac is spot on. The WNBA needs to recognize Caitlin Clark's potential and not drop the ball on her, as she's a major draw for fans and can really elevate the league's excitement in next season.
It happened in the game opener. We need to tighten up on that. Now,
well,
what are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, well, a lot of people said that was part of the Jordan rules. You can't.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
because she got two quick fouls. They called 2 quick fouls on her.
That was the first thing that came to mind. I said, "Did we make Jordan?"
Let's see what Clark responds on this comparison with Jordan.
never thought I'd ask this question in my journalism career. Caitlin, you went from the Jordan shrug, and I looked at, there's a couple photos and videos of you after hitting threes. You started sticking your tongue out. Like, have you gone from the Jordan shrug to, like, the Jordan tongue out after a big shot?
Honestly, sometimes I don't even know. You just get so excited once you hit a shot. I think the Jordan shrug is still the go-to, though.
Let's see the amazing Michael Jordan in court from past days.
Round of Stansbury. Now, Michael Jordan told me he had something special. He may be trying to take off from the free throw line a la Julius Erving. Let's see what happens. He kind of measured it from there. He's going back. That very may well be it. The people are excited. They like this.
I can hear his engines revving now.
Here Jordan ready to take off.
In Chicago.
That's got to be a 50 by. He took off just.
This is not the first time Michael Jordan got compared with other athletes. Let's see what Jordan said about comparing him with other athletes.
Is he playing? I didn't know he was playing. No, I just think that, you know, we play in different eras. He's an unbelievable player. He's one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. I know it's a natural tendency to compare eras to eras, and you know, it's going to continue to happen. I'm a fan of his. I love watching him play. But it's, you know, as you can see, our league is starting to expand on very talented players, and you know, I think he's made his mark. He will continue to do so over a period of time. But when you start the comparisons, I think it is what it is.
Similar to K-Mac's thoughts, even Nancy Lieberman drew parallels between Michael Jordan and Clark. It's not a Caitlin thing. It's a people thing. I mean, people were so jealous of Michael Jordan back in 1984. UNC Chicago Stadium was half empty prior to him arriving. The stadiums were filling up then. TV wanted him and the Bulls on every game. Not to forget, the Jordan brand has hit $7 billion in revenue this year, despite the drop in sales for Nike. Earlier this month, Hall of Famer spoke to Stephen A. Smith and was on board the Clark hype train. With all the parallels being drawn, let's look back at the time when Michael Jordan broke the viewership record. Let's see what Magic Johnson said about Clark.
Players, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, who many are saying are the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson of the WNBA. Do you like that when you